Aloha mai kako. Welcome to another uplifting edition of the Little Grass Shack, where we bring you the best of island music, culture, and the spirit of aloha.
In the village he rises, island heart never hides.
Aloha mai kako. Today on the Little Grass Shack, we have the pleasure of welcoming Dr. Joe Alban, the visionary founder of Kona Joe Coffee. Established in 1994, Kona Joe Coffee is renowned as the world's first trellised coffee plantation. Uncle Joe's dedication to quality and innovation has not only elevated Kona coffee on the global stage, but has also set new standards in coffee cultivation and production. We are honored to have him share his journey and insights with us today on the Little Grass Shack.
Bringing peace and spreading love, aloha spirit from above.
Yes, enjoying today's Spirit of Aloha, my island, Emory, the Little Grass Shack. Today's special guest, yes, Honolulu Spotlight, Uncle Joe. Oh, Dr. Alban. Welcome to the Little Grass Shack, Uncle.
Oh, thank you, Emory. It's great to be here.
You know what? I've been on this coffee venture, and I told my listeners before that I had a chance to go to Hawaii and visit the farm, and it's in the Big Island, and they were just saying the Little Grass Shack right down the street from you, right?
Yes, it's right down the street. We're walking distance from the Grass Shack.
Wow, man! Why coffee, Uncle? I mean, I know you're professional, but I want to focus on coffee because it is people's ritual. And for me, every morning it's a cup of coffee. And now every time I think about paradise, I think of Big Island. I'm sorry.
Wow. Well, that's a great question. It makes me think back to when I first started drinking coffee. And it really was pretty early in my life. When I was about 13 years old,
Whoa.
I would go with three of my buddies to this local chain of restaurants. This is in Southern California where I grew up, called Sambo's. And for 5 cents, you get a bottomless cup of coffee. So we would sit at the counter. We didn't have much money, but we had 5 cents. And so we'd buy that cup of coffee right after school, about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And we would sit there drinking coffee till 6 o'clock when we had to go home for dinner. And by then we were so wired.
Wow.
We were bouncing off the walls. But I got hooked on coffee at a very early age. I didn't know how bad that coffee was until later. But at 12 years old, it tasted pretty good.
Right. I remember the restaurant chain Sambo's, and I didn't enjoy my first cup of coffee until I came to Las Vegas, and I got to meet up with Mark Matsuo, like 1997. That's the first time I started drinking coffee, because I never really thought about coffee. But you learning at an early age, my goodness. I mean, now back then, bottomless coffee. Now you're in the coffee business as obviously a coffee connoisseur, coffee grower, coffee. You do it all. The roaster. I know you're a doctor, orthopedic surgeon?
Yes.
And then, then you went to Hawaii, and then you fell in love with obviously a woman, and then the land, and then you ventured into coffee. That's amazing.
All of those things really happened, and it all happened in about one day. I met this girl, and we were talking on our first date. We happened to be in Kona, and I told her, well, I'm really excited about trying the Kona coffee. And she said, well, I know somebody who's growing some Kona coffee. Why don't we go by and pay them a visit this afternoon, and you can taste some coffee and see what it's all about. So we went to visit Tommy Greenwell, who now owns and operates Greenwell Farms Coffee down the street from Kona Joe's. And Tommy's really a great guy, very inspiring. He grew up in Kona. And I talked story with him about coffee, tasted the coffee, and by the next day I was dreaming about having a coffee farm in Kona. Kept dating that girl named Dee. She's an artist from Hawaii, and 45 years later, she and I are married, still together, and now I have that coffee farm that I dreamed about, and we're making coffee every day from seed to cup, growing it, processing, roasting, brewing. So it was a life-changing moment.
Wow. I tell you what, we'll talk more with Uncle Joe. Stay tuned. You guys don't want to miss this. We're talking about beauty in all aspects and the spirit of aloha. I'm Island Little Grass Shack. Your destination is always paradise. back to Little Grass Shack. I'm Alban Emory, still hanging out with Uncle Joe and talking about his journey from, professional to literally the beauty of owning a coffee farm. Now, it all started, going to Hawaii, meeting this beautiful young lady, and then drinking that cup of coffee. Did you literally just pick up and just move to Hawaii at that point?
No, not right away.
Okay.
It's been a long journey for sure. But I started my practice in Long Beach, California, and was doing a lot of surgery, very, very busy, but still fantasizing about being in Hawaii, being in Kona. And we would make frequent trips back to the islands because my wife's family is there, but most of them are in Honolulu. And we can't grow Kona coffee in Honolulu. You got to be in Kona to grow Kona coffee. So I saved my money, and when I had enough money, we bought some land, and I thought I would just, eventually plant coffee and have some for my retirement to share with friends and family. Well, when we finally did have some coffee growing, I didn't have any for my friends and family because my wife started selling it. And she was selling it faster than I could grow it. I said, wait a minute, some of this coffee should be for me. I did all this work. But it's a great partnership. And she's a real people person, and I'm not good at selling anything. She says I'm an expert at giving things away. But she knows how to sell, and she appreciates the quality of Kona coffee. So together we've built this business and partnership. We now have 26 employees, and we sell our Kona coffee pretty much all over the world.
How many acres is on that farm, of course?
We have 20 acres now, and if you're from Oklahoma or the Midwest, you might say, that's not a farm, that's a garden. But in Hawaii, 20 acres is a pretty big plot of land because it's expensive property, and also it's a lot of work to take care of it.
And it says that you're in that, is it called the Coffee Belt, or what was it called?
Yeah, the region where the Kona coffee comes from is called the Kona Coffee Belt, and that's because we have just the right climatic conditions on the western slopes of the Big Island, where we get sunshine in the morning, gentle rain shower in the afternoon with cloud cover, and that mimics the origins of coffee in Ethiopia, where coffee grows under the canopy of the rainforest. So coffee likes a lot of water, but it also needs warm temperatures all year round. That's why Hawaii is the only place in the United States where coffee is commercially grown. Even California, it just gets too cold in the winter, would shut down the trees. So the only really made in the USA coffee comes from Hawaii. And within Hawaii, Kona is considered really the best of the best because of those climatic conditions. And we're the youngest of all the islands. So we have the most mineral-rich soil as well.
Wow. That's all. We'll talk more with Uncle Joe. Don't go away. We'll continue this. Share the spirit of aloha. More music coming your way on Little Grass Shack. Give me an islandemory.com. But you're hanging out with Uncle Joe from the Kona Joe Coffee Farms. Now, you have come up with a different form of farming, trellis coffee. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
So when we first started thinking about planting and growing Kona coffee, my brother, who's a wine grower and a winemaker, said to me, well, Joe, what's going to be special and different about your coffee? And I said, well, it's kind of obvious. It'll be grown by me. And he said, well, maybe you should come up with something a little bit better than that. And that's when I started thinking he's right. Lots of people are growing Kona coffee. Maybe there's something we can do to improve on existing methods. And from the vineyard, I could see that the wine grapes grow on wires. They train the vines to grow on wires. It opens up the vine to more sunlight and aeration, and it produces better quality wine grapes. And coffee happens to be a fruit also. So then I learned that other fruits are grown on wires, like kiwis, peaches, pears, and apples have all been trellised, and the result is to make them all naturally sweeter, enhance the natural sugar production. And so I thought, well, gosh, if it works for all these other fruits, would it work for coffee? And I started doing research and found nothing, because apparently no one had ever tried this. And so then I thought, well, I'm going to try it. Why not? The worst that can happen is it doesn't work and start over again.
Yeah, right.
But we did that, and some of the local farmers, a local Japanese farmer I talked to, I threw this idea at him. He said, well, Joe, every 5 years another haole comes over here with some crazy idea about how to improve Kona coffee. But of all the ideas I've heard of, yours really is the worst.
Wow.
And that's what I said. Wow. I said, thanks a lot, but I do appreciate your honesty.
Mm-hmm.
And so he explained to me, look, it's already a lot of work to grow coffee. Everything's done by hand, and it's picked by hand, and you're working on a rocky slope, and now you're going to add more costs with posts and wires and training the trees. So, you're making it even more difficult. And it turned out he was right. It is more work, but just initially, because once the trees start growing on the wires and they take on this unusual shape where the vertical limbs are now extended outward, the tree just keeps growing that way. Mm-hmm. And after about 3 years, it doesn't even need the wires anymore. It maintains that shape. And we think it works very, very well. We won an award in 2002 from the Specialty Coffee Association of America for Best New Coffee in the World.
Wow. And
after that, we started getting visitors from all over the world because our farm looks like a vineyard. Now the trees are all on wires and with posts on each end of the rows. It's a beautiful scenery, and it's a beautiful cup of coffee.
Wow. You know what? If you guys could... we'll get you guys the website, but we'll continue to talk with Uncle Joe and the beauty of Hawaii and trellis coffee. I'm Island Emory, Little Grass Shack. Get me at islandemory.com. Enjoying the spirit of aloha and that jolt of joy. Yes, talking about that liquid gold coffee. Got Uncle Joe from Kona in the Little Grass Shack. Uncle, we talked about your, well, to me, it's just fascinating what you've created in the Big Island in Kona. And what's as a farmer, I mean, what challenges have you come across? I mean, obviously the pricing of land, it is the cost is just, I don't know, astronomical, especially living in Hawaii, right?
Emory, I'm a very honest person, and if I told you all the difficulties and challenges in growing Kona coffee, you'll need another 6 hours added onto your show.
Wow.
It is not easy. In fact, if somebody had told me ahead of time how hard it is, I probably would have done something else, like maybe open 10 McDonald's instead of trying to grow this special coffee. But it starts out with the fact that we're isolated in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, 2,500 miles from, the next major city other than Honolulu, and so everything's imported.
Yeah.
And we need one little part, we got to order it. Right. You got to wait for it to come. The island population on the Big Island is relatively small. I think it's about 200,000 people. And most of those are either retired people, snowbirds who come from other places, or the local people. So when you have a computer that has a problem, or you have a piece of farm equipment that's not running properly, finding somebody with the expertise who can help you is a challenge.
It's a challenge.
And sometimes we have to bring people in from other islands or even from the mainland to help us with issues. So all these things create time delays, expense, and there are challenges. So we've had to learn to do a lot of things on our own, things that I never imagined I would be doing. But
Right.
I mean, things like repairing the irrigation system,
I heard about that.
pumps and motors and engines and diesel, all of which I still know very little about, but we depend on all those things to keep running, to keep the business going.
Wow. With the challenges and, I think Kona, you said the acreage, you told me that literally Kona coffee is sold out. I mean, because people are in demand of Kona coffee. Is that correct?
Yes, there's only about 3,000 acres of Kona coffee in total in production to provide for the entire world. And so that's really about 0.0001% of the world's coffee supply. And yet this tiny little bit of coffee has an international reputation. So people from Korea, Japan, even parts of Europe, and of course all over the United States, Canada, they love this Kona coffee. And once people start drinking it on a regular basis, they really notice the difference when they're not drinking Kona coffee.
Well, you've created a culture, just like me, taking back to just like sitting in your patio in Big Island when I visited. And it's a culture. It's to me, it's a great way to experience a great cup of coffee overlooking a great view. We'll talk more with Uncle Joe. Stay tuned, and he's going to talk about his upcoming reserve, I guess you could say, coffee reserve. I'm Emory, and give me an islandemery.com. Enjoying the spirit of aloha, Little Grass Shack.
All right.
Little Grass Shack, Island Emory, back with Uncle Joe, talking about my favorite subject now, coffee. Uncle Joe has explained about the difficulties and challenges of becoming a farmer, but yet what you produce is such a, to me, it's like a dessert. I mean, I gotta have that dessert. I mean, like people take the candy. I mean, I gotta have coffee like all day. I'm a 15 cup kind of guy. I'm sorry, people out there. I'm a 15 cup kind of guy, and I drink it black. Why? Because I want to taste the coffee. Now, you producing such a obviously 3,000 acres of Kona coffee. That's what the world is built on. But what is Kona, Joe? I mean, do you have different flavors or what have you?
Oh, yeah. We have several varieties. Because once you grow the coffee, the beans develop into different sizes, and we separate them by grades, and each grade has a little bit different flavor profile. Then besides the grading, there's a major transformation in the taste of the coffee when it's roasted. So we can do different roasts, which also substantially change the flavor. So we do a light roast, we do a medium roast, a dark roast, espresso roast. They all have different characteristics, but surprisingly, of the different roasts, most people think the strongest coffee is going to be the darkest roast.
Yeah.
But it's not.
It's not.
The reason is that the caffeine is in the oil of the coffee. And the longer we roast the coffee, the more of the oils we burn off. So it's actually the light roast coffee that is the kick-ass coffee.
Okay.
The dark roast is going to be bold flavored with a lot of deep tones, molasses, caramel. But if you want to really get that kick, a jolt from your morning coffee, you should be drinking the light roast in the morning.
Wow, I'm going to have to check that out. I always thought, to me, I was believed it would be dark roast. But now learning an educator in here, educating me, I love it. With that, you were talking during the break that I think coffee is almost like liquor or wine. A lot of people pay $200-$300 or even $15,000 for a bottle of cognac. But now you've I believe you're onto something. You have a reserve that you're about to break out. Is this the year?
Later this year, it's going to happen. Yeah, we're just about 6 months away now. But very early on, we started Kona Joe's about 1994, and we got our first really robust crop 6 years later, the year 2000. So from that first hardy crop, I took the best coffee beans we had, a sample, about 50 pounds, and I put them into an oak wine barrel. This is French oak, and I've left them in those barrels now for the last 25 years. And so by about June of this year, it will be at age 25 years. We're going to open that barrel and roast the first sample.
Wow.
So this is going to be some of the most unique, special coffee ever produced. I'm hoping that we're going to capture that same magic that the winemakers get by aging their wine in oak barrels, that we're going to be able to reproduce that with coffee. Is it going to work? I don't know. I don't know anyone else has ever done this before. So again, it's an experiment, and if we get lucky, it's going to be magic.
I believe it. Hey, you stick with the Little Grand Shack. We'll talk more magic with Uncle Joe and the journey of what Uncle Joe's providing for us. That he even has a roaster here in town. So you guys are gonna hang out with me, Little Grand Shack, the Spirit of Aloha. I'm Island Emory. Yes, look at that Spirit of Aloha. Yes, that cup of Aloha. I'm hanging out with Uncle Joe in the Little Grass Shack. Well, we've been talking about coffee throughout the past segments, but you know what? He's brought the Spirit of Aloha to the 9th island. Is that correct, Uncle?
Yes, that's true. We have a roasting facility here in Las Vegas, and we're producing now many of our different blends here, and have a distribution here in Las Vegas, all over the U.S., but we hope to really bring that distribution to the heart of the city of Vegas.
Right. I think it's on its way. I mean, there's so many people from Hawaii living in Las Vegas, and the Spirit of Aloha lives here, and then you're just bringing that cup of Aloha. I mean, I'm loving it. In the middle of the desert, who knew?
Well, it just feels right to me. You know, Hawaii and Las Vegas are two of my favorite places to be. So my wife and I spend about half our time out here, and we don't go anywhere without our coffee, but we like to share it with everybody around us.
Yeah. I know I heard you're an avid poker player. Is that correct?
Yes, I like to play tournament poker. I've been playing in the World Series for about 12 years now, whenever that event comes around. But the casinos have regular tournaments almost every weekend now, and it's growing in popularity, and poker players love coffee.
Right.
Definitely sharpens their game, so it seems like a perfect marriage.
Yeah, it's a great fit, man. People need that jolt, and I guess a kick in the pants said, man, I should have folded.
That's right. Well, one more cup of coffee and he would have figured it out.
He would have figured it out. I think the coffee gives opens your senses to more of what to expect, or to me, I can't do energy drinks anymore. It's all about coffee now, and I think the health the health behind it is like a cup of coffee is better than sugar. Correct?
Oh, absolutely. There's been a lot of scientific research on coffee, and it's a natural stimulant. So it is a legal drug, but it's a legal drug without even a minimum age for consumption. That's because it's so safe. The FDA wouldn't allow young people to drink coffee if it was truly harmful. But in fact, the studies have shown that it stimulates every organ in the body, especially the brain, and that's what sharpens our ability to focus and, I think, make better decisions when we're alert. So coffee fills that need, and I think that's one of the reasons why it's grown in popularity. But if we can take that and combine it with an amazing flavor, now we've got something that everybody should have.
Wow. I tell you what, if you guys want this cup of Aloha, what's the website to Kona Joe?
Oh, it's Pretty easy. It's konajoe.com.
Hey, it can't get simpler than that, people. I know Uncle Joe's going to be back in the Little Grass Shack, which we talk more about, obviously, the journey of the 25-year. I'm excited for you on that, to accomplish that. But yet, sharing the spirit of aloha, the cup of aloha every morning. Why not get your Kona Joe right here with the Little Grass Shack? Mahalo, Uncle, for coming into the Little Grass Shack and sharing your story. I know it's not going to be the last. We're going to do a Hanaho segment, and I believe that we'll be doing a lot more.
Well, thank you for having me, Emory. You got a great crew and staff here, and I'm excited about your pursuit and becoming a coffee hunter, because I think you're going to make many great discoveries in your journey.
Thank you very much. Hey, listen to the best of island music and the spirit of aloha. It happens with you folks. Give me an islandemery.com, Little Grass Shack. Little Grass Shack. I want to say mahalo nui loa to Uncle Joe for coming in and sharing his journey about his coffee experience, and continues to grow not only coffee, but his legacy. I'm Island Ember with the Little Grass Shack. Mahalo nui loa. Ohui ho, malama pono, and aloha. God bless everybody. Embrace the spirit of aloha. Share with somebody. Your destination always paradise, the Little Grass Shack. Get me at islandemery.com.